So I don't know if y'all heard about the news about the baby's brother.
I heard about it.
Only vaguely.
Yeah. So he made like a video. I guess the other day. I don't know if it was like a couple days ago. He made a video, basically, explaining, everything he's been feeling. It was kind of like troubling to watch. Like, he was like on the verge of tears and just like saying, like, basically just crying for help. And basically that same night they said that he had shot himself. He had an inflicted bullet wound. And rest in peace. Prayers out to his family. But I bring this up because the last episode we had, one of the things that you said, it's something that had nothing to do with it, but you said like mental health is important in our community, and it came back to me when you said that. So I kind of wanted to bring this up now. Like, how do you think we should like go about this of addressing it? Because we do have like so much like trauma and oppression that we're fighting, and mental health with the Black community was always something that I wasn't really like fully engaging in. I don't know why. It was just so much other stuff that I felt was more important, but I think
it's not highlighted. I mean, it's not one of those things that has priority in our community. That's never something that's talked about ever. Literally never. Now, sure, it might come up here and there. Now, sure, I feel like one of the biggest things is that we need more Black individuals going into the mental health system or into psychology, in order to have other masses of Black individuals or people of color feel comfortable to have people to go to. Because I feel like amongst the stigmas, not only is it one of those things that's heavily portrayed as something white, one, because of money, sure, but however, just because of how white people are, they're more free with being able to talk to other people, go to doctors, go to appointments, whatever it may be. Black people have a stigma. They're going to be looked at differently, whether it be in regular medical care or mental health medical care. And for us, typically, most therapists are going to be not Black. Right. Let's be real. So it will make it harder, but ultimately it's not talked about. For Black people, we go to community. We go to gangs. We go to groups of people to help let out and blow off steam in other ways, whether it be with violence, whether it be with running streets, whether it be with whatever, like the negative stereotypes that we or other people have seen in our community. That's a coping mechanism for us. That's not just, gangs is not just something that we do for fun and just do just for the fuck of it. That's a coping mechanism. Having a community, having a family, having people that will ride for you. That's real. Having people that you don't necessarily got to speak explicitly about your struggle, but you know that they're going to understand through and through. I feel like that's what's missing right now. I have a Black therapist. I've had one for 3 years. I got lucky enough to come across her. It makes a difference having a Black woman therapist to understand my Black woman problems. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a difficult subject to talk about for our community, considering how dismissed it has been for us. Considering how much trauma we've gone through with our past in America, being African Americans. You'd think that we'd have more resources for help. And we don't. And here we are, 2020, 40 years post segregation, civil rights, or whatever, and 40 years plus, we still don't have proper outlets for it. And that's where it's people like, not only me, but people like my therapist, people like that are interested in helping other people understanding the human brain pertaining to Black Americans. Because Black people, it's a spectrum. We're not all the same. Black Americans are different from Black Africans. Right. Black Africans are different from Black Jamaicans. Black Jamaicans are different from, it's gonna vary always. I feel like we just need to be a lot more open with being vulnerable and not being caught up. And it's not just Black people, but it's toxic masculinity. Men don't feel like they have the opportunity to speak. What'd you say?
That's a buzzword.
It is.
Toxic masculinity.
It is. And it's so real. It's so prominent in the American society, especially amongst Black men. We have to be looked at as hard, as thugs, as, you know, rigid, as not crying a tear. A black man, not synonymous. Like, those don't go together.
And that was one thing I thought about when it came to this. Like, as a community, a lot of things that we look at as normal is not normal in many other communities. Like a lot of us came up in like warfare type, you know, situations, but when they come back from the military, they got all type of resources and, you know, stuff, and they're so like, you know, empathetic when it comes to them. But we got 7-8-year-olds that are dealing with stuff similar to them, and like, where's their resources? Where's their counseling? Where's their, you know, help when it comes to that? As far as counseling, I'm not like a fan of it. I'll be real, only because I feel like with most counselors, it's like if you weren't like paying them, they probably wouldn't be speaking to you.
Sure.
And I feel like the counseling should be somebody that actually does care about you, actually does love you, actually does understand you. You know, like personally, I got lucky. Like I had like a big cousin, big brother type role to where like I could always go to him and I didn't ever have to be embarrassed. Like this has never happened, but you know, if something crazy happened, like I was to get like an STD or something, I don't have to be embarrassed to talk to him about that. He's not going to look at me with no judgment. And I think that's more valuable than any counselor can give you, because you never know what they might be thinking. They're also human.
Ultimately, a safe space is what's needed. People need, not only people, our community needs to let go of a lot of judgment. I feel like another thing that inhibits us from actually diving into mental health is the heavy reliance on religion and God, personally. Because people be quick to be like, oh, you know, just pray it away, meditate, pray to God, you know, blessings will come, whatever. And I'm not disregarding that. I'm just saying that's not a cure-all. Yeah. Going to God isn't going to help you changing brain chemicals that are unregulated because of how your brain works, because of traumas that you've dealt with. Sorry, but God, which is a mental aspect, will not change your actual brain chemicals. It will help. It will help with coping mechanisms. But I feel like people be like, oh, you know, go to church. You don't got bipolar. You're not depressed. Go to church, pray about it. And that's that. They disregard it. We dismiss a lot of serious things and either put it on religion, put it on just a passing time, put it on just being sad, or demean somebody for feeling depressed.
And in some cases, some people could look at prayer as another form of meditation.
And that can be.
It
and I'm not saying it can
work for some.
I'm not saying it doesn't help. I'm saying it's not a cure-all.
Right.
I'm saying it's not a cure-all. And
so
I'm
there
saying
needs to be more.
It needs to be more with it. I feel like there needs to be more knowledge with it and more looking into it, research with it, because I'm not saying everybody needs coping mechanisms. That may be prayer, that may be religion, that may be whatever, you know, just sitting in a room in the dark by yourself, not listening to anything, that whatever it may be for you, It is what it is. But I'm saying that's not a cure-all. Let's not just write away the fact that, for me, bipolar, I've been told for years, just meditate. Meditation ain't gonna help shit with these cycles that I can't control because my brain chemicals are acting the way they are. It is what it is. I can find other things. Prayer's not gonna do it for me. Prayer's gonna do it for people, not for me. I'm not religious. Gotcha. So art does it for me. Reading does it for me. Escapism does it for me. Watching things that I enjoy. Different things do it for me, but God isn't one of them. The universe, sure. Manifestation, absolutely. Zeroing in, we could talk about religion in another episode, but zeroing in on Christianity, sure. I am not Christian. I cannot say that. I was raised Christian, which caused cognitive dissonance because I see it. Ultimately, mental health needs to be better highlighted and not just dismissed as something that's just a passing phase, when in reality, it can be, but it's not always that. PTSD is real. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Bipolar is real. All of that should not be dismissed as just you flipping out, you not having God, you tripping. Things, everybody reacts to things differently. We gotta acknowledge that there's a wide spectrum of emotions.
Yeah, it's for sure a complex issue in our
Exactly.
community, and then the solutions are going to be different
For everybody.
based on everybody's situation.
It's subjective, absolutely.
And then we have to be able to discern the difference between, depressed because I don't know, things aren't going well in my life, or I might need to work out, drink more water, go outside, do something different, and actual chemical imbalances inside the mind that can be brought upon
through diets, all of that,
through drug use.
All
you could
of
just
that.
be born that way. You could have gone through something incredibly traumatic that, like, you know, flipped the switch or something like that. But as far as mental health in the Black community, I feel like it's just now. Probably, for sure within like the last couple 10 years.
Well, for me, like the last couple, to where I seen it like being taken more serious and more advocation for it. Yeah,
it's more highlighted. But I feel like, cause I hear that word a lot. Like, I gotta take a mental health day, and I think that's all good. It's all good because we do have to be more conscientious of our mental state as we move through the world, as we communicate with other people, as we do a lot of different things. Because, you know, even checking myself, I'm not, you know, I've been told I've been moody, and that could be mental health, you feel me? Or I just wake up and I'm not feeling good, so that could be mental health. So I feel like that's where I don't got no statistics, but I feel like that's like where the majority of us are, is like we're just not happy in a nutshell. We're depressed in a nutshell. And to connect it back to the baby's brother, I'm not really sure what his issues were, as far as whether he had like severe mental issues, or if it's just kind of like a thing of like, with the rise of social media, we're seeing like an increase in suicides for like young children, and they're trying to connect those two, saying it's like some type of correlation between social media and suicide for young children. And I feel like there's validation there to an extent, because even myself, and I feel like I'm a pretty mentally strong individual, you can go on social media and start looking at other things, and then you immediately want to compare it to your own life. And some people aren't able to turn their own thoughts, so once they go down like a negative thought trail, they just go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and it's hard to pull yourself out of it. So I can't really say what the solution is as far as like what mental health is, but I feel like maybe, you know, try an array of things. Maybe trying to work out, maybe try to go on a social media detox,
explore what different ways to express yourself. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can play around with, but something you said definitely made me want to ask this question, because you said you don't know the baby's brother's mental health situation, if it was serious or not severe. Now, us knowing Kanye West is more on the severe end of the spectrum, if he killed himself, how would you feel? Like, what would you think?
I would think somebody Kanye West loves himself too much to kill himself. But on that end, I do like, just because I'm a Kanye fan, so any media, any type of interview, anytime Kanye talks, I try to like check it out and listen. From listening to Kanye, he's a deeper person, but he doesn't express himself in a way that I feel is normal. So based off of my limited understanding, I would say there is some type of, I don't want to say mental issue, even though he came out and say he's bipolar. I would just say this, I don't know, his mechanisms are different. But I also feel like on the Kanye subject, he was saying things like, after he made the statement, slavery was a choice, like his team and his wife got him committed to like an insane asylum and put him on drugs and stuff like that.
I thought that was before that.
Well, it's around that time for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's been more than on one occasion, is what I'm saying. Okay. But that also brings into another issue of like pharmaceutical companies and the effects that those type of drugs can have on us as well.
Making it worse.
And shit, we can even start talking about like the mental health issue is also connected to the homelessness issue as well. Because a lot of people that are homeless, most people that are homeless, it's not simply just because they can't afford a place to live. A lot of people that are homeless, they have like serious drug issues, and a lot of them have serious mental health issues.
And if they don't, they end up having it at some
point. It develops eventually. So, but to answer that question, if Kanye West killed himself, my personal opinion, I'd be like, yo, they got to my guy.
I'd probably like, it would just be extremely, extremely sad. I mean, but the thing is, like, I kind of look at Kanye like he gone already, like, because he has such a cold turnaround. Like, again, like the music that he was making when he came in, the stances that he was taking when he came in, And then versus a lot of the stuff that he started like in 2018, it was just so contradictory. And I don't, people are allowed to grow, people are allowed to evolve, but I don't know, it just seemed like a totally different person to where I was just like, the Kanye that I came up on that was teaching me, like, that's not him right there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it would just be like extremely sad, and maybe I'm still not kind of taking it as serious as I should be with the mental health that you know.
I would say life is enough to make almost anybody go crazy. Like, especially if you're not like monitoring yourself adequately, you will go crazy. For sure.
Especially for like somebody like Kanye, who actually does, like, I'll give him this, like, probably one of the most educated people I could think of. Like, he does his homework, like, as far as what he knows, like, he be knowing what the hell he talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if he says something out of bounds, I still be thinking like, oh, he's doing that intentionally, like, because I know he knows better. Like, I know, you know what I mean?
It's weird. Like, he probably knows somewhere in his mind that what he's saying isn't like the correct way to say it, but it's like, even when I talk, sometimes it's like you got to decide where you want to come from. You want to come more from like an intellectual standpoint, or you want to let your emotion and passion speak.
Right.
In each one, you'll get a different effect. If you want to be more intellectual, you're gonna have like a more reserved type way of talking. It might not inspire as many people, but your point will come across clear. But if you want to speak from your passion, you probably gonna turn a lot of people off. But the people that you do touch and that do get it, they gonna fuck with you all the way. I think Kanye, especially when he like gets in front of people, he speaks more so from his emotion, from the passion, from his heart, as opposed to like a more intellectual standpoint.
And another thing about the baby's brother too, like, I mean, I don't know none of these people personally, but it was crazy when I seen that, like, on his album last year, he mentioned his brother on a big song. It was a song that I super effed with too, like, and I remembered that line, but like when I just seen it again after the news broke, and I was like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying, like, that was really like something for real, like, so I don't know how involved, I mean, clearly this is something that like money can't cure, outside looking in, like, his brother was basically saying like, like, come on, whenever you ready, we trying to be there. And I mean, they seem like they messed up from it right now, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just kind of, there'll be certain like situations that happen where it just kind of like triggers something in you. Right. I don't know what it was, but when I seen that, it just kind of triggered something, like, like when the Trayvon Martin situation happened, I think, my pro-blackness went to like another level as far as like me wanting to educate myself. Right. Because it was like probably the first time in my generation I could think of where it was like right in your face, like, right. You seen it in real time. It's not something that your parents had to teach you about where you just like, oh yeah, that was 50, 60 years ago. It was like, no, like, I seen this. I seen y'all say not guilty. First of all, I seen y'all not arrest this nigga. You let him go home that night. Right. I seen all of that in real time, and that was just like, something was lit inside, based on that situation. And I think a lot of people from our era feel the same way. But I mean, yeah, again, rest in peace to his brother, man. We're definitely gonna have this conversation a lot more going forward.